After 5 years, Millionaire discovers heartwarming truth as Fiancée exposes her hidden malice. Mark stood in his backyard, the sun setting over the white picket fences of his suburb, casting a warm golden glow. Birds chirped cheerfully, and the aroma of grilled burgers wafted through the air. Everything felt perfect. A self-made millionaire at 35, he was gearing up to marry Emily, the woman who made his heart race like the engines of his flashy car. Their engagement felt like the culmination of the American dream: hard work, perseverance, and a promise of love that filled him with hope and excitement. But beneath the surface, a whisper of doubt had begun to gnaw at him, a feeling he couldn't shake. Emily was charming, kind, and beautiful, everything a man could wish for. But as he prepared for their special day, he noticed a subtle shift in her demeanor. Mark's mother, a pillar of strength and wisdom in his life, had sensed it too. "Something feels off about Emily," she warned one day over coffee. Mark brushed it aside, convinced that her concerns were a simple case of motherly intuition, but the tension lingered, a thin veil between them that as wedding plans intensified. Mark found himself engulfed in a flurry of activities and decision-making. Every day felt like a countdown to joy, yet something simmered beneath that joy. Mark's success had brought Emily's jealousy to light, manifesting in small comments and subtle digs that left him feeling unsettled. He could only see the bright smile on her face, not the shadows that lurked behind it. To ease the strain, he threw himself into romantic gestures, buying flowers or planning elaborate date nights, desperate to smooth over the emotional rift that was widening between them. One fateful evening, while digging through the family attic in search of an old photo album, Mark stumbled upon more than just memories. Hidden inside a dusty box were disturbing messages, texts, and emails revealing Emily's manipulative plans to isolate him from his family and friends. His heart raced as he read those words, disbelief flooding through him. Could the woman he loved be capable of such deceit? The next night, with the weight of betrayal heavy in his chest, Mark confronted Emily. "I found your messages. What's going on?" The argument that erupted shook the very foundation of their relationship, every word a dagger. "You have everything. Why can't you just appreciate me?" she shouted, fury dancing in her eyes. "This is the life I wanted too." Her desperate cries gnawed at his heart but also ignited his resolve. He remembered the love he had for his family, the sacrifices they made to help him achieve his dreams. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As Mark stood in the middle of their living room, a wave of support swept over him. His friends and family rallied around him, echoing their loyalty and love. The familiar faces from the neighborhood, who had shared barbecues and laughter, now stood resolutely by his side. This was family, this was home. With every encouraging smile and nod, he felt the courage to face the truth. But as Emily clung to her facade, Mark knew the battle was far from over. She wasn't just losing control over him. She was losing her grip on the illusion she had created. And in that moment, amid the warmth of those he cherished, Mark knew he had a choice to make. Would he take a stand for his integrity and family, or cling to the shards of a dream that felt so fragile? The weight of uncertainty hung in the air as heated words and hidden truths threatened to tear apart the life he had built. All he could do was look into the faces of those who stood beside him and wonder, what would he choose? Mark's heartbeat thundered in his chest as he stared into Emily's wide eyes, her facade of sweetness cracking before him. The once vibrant spark in her gaze was now clouded with anger and defiance. Could he really believe that the woman he adored was capable of such a betrayal? Doubt coiled tightly around his thoughts, whispering sweet lies that tangled themselves in his mind. "What else haven't you told me?" Mark demanded, his voice lined with a mixture of fear and resolve. The warmth in the room faded, replaced by a chilling tension that wrapped around them like fog. Emily crossed her arms, an act of defiance. "You don't understand. I was trying to protect us. I thought if I kept you close we could build something better." "But at what cost?" he shot back, frustration bleeding into his words. He never imagined that love could warp into something so sinister. The love songs they shared sounded mocking now, as if the universe conspired to shatter his illusions. With a deep, unsteady breath, Emily replied, "I did it for us. All those late nights I worked hard to support us, but you barely noticed." Her voice wavered, cracking under the weight of her emotions. "The more you achieved, the more I felt like a shadow in your life." Mark stepped back, feeling the sting of her words. It wasn't just betrayal. It was pain laced with truth, and it stung deeper than he expected. "Emily, I always wanted you to share in my success. My family and friends, they have always been my backbone. You know that. Then why did you keep them so close?" she asked, her voice dropping to a whisper that sliced through the chaos. "What was I to you then? Just a trophy to showcase?" The silence that followed was deafening. It felt as if all the air had been sucked from the room. Mark's mind raced, seeking the right words. But the truth hung heavily in the space between them. He felt torn. Torn between the life he had built and the woman standing before him who now felt like a stranger. As if sensing his hesitance, Emily stepped forward, desperation flashing in her eyes. "If you leave me now, you're throwing away everything we built together. All the love, all the memories. Please don't do this." The memories flooded his mind: laughter, intimacy, promises. Was it all a lie? Could their love withstand this revelation? But the shame gnawed deeper with every second he stood there, knowing her quest for control had risked the very foundation they had crafted. Maybe he hesitated, the weight of her plea hitting him hard. "Maybe the life we built isn't what I thought it was." Suddenly, his mother's words echoed in his ears, clear and unwavering. "You deserve someone who cherishes you for who you are, not who you can be." Mark took a step backward, breaking the spell. He couldn't turn away from the truth anymore. "I have to take a moment to think," he said quietly, the enormity of his decision taking hold. As he left the room, a surge of emotion coursed through him: sadness for what could have been, and a newfound determination to reclaim his own narrative. Outside, the night sky loomed vast above him, stars twinkling like distant promises. Would he stay and fight for the life they once dreamed of? Or would he find the strength to break free from the web of manipulation? The answers fluttered just out of reach, leaving him standing on the precipice of doubt and hope. Mark turned to look at the house one last time. He could feel the warmth but knew there was a coldness creeping in. Just then a familiar face appeared in the shadows. "Mark." It was his brother Jake, looking concerned. "I came as soon as I heard. Are you okay?" In that moment Mark realized that he wasn't alone. Could his family truly help him find the clarity he desperately needed? Mark took a deep breath, the cool night air refreshing against his heated skin. Jake's expression was a mirror of concern, and it reminded him of how much he needed support right now. He hadn't expected to see his brother tonight, let alone at such a crucial moment. "I don't even know where to start," Mark admitted, his voice almost a whisper. They had always been close, but the weight of his current struggle felt too heavy to share. How did he encapsulate the shattered pieces of his life in mere words? Jake stepped closer, concern etched on his features. "Just take your time, man. I'm here for you." Mark shook his head. "It's Emily. She did something I never thought she could. I thought we had something real, something solid, but now it feels fake. I don't recognize her." The flicker of a streetlight illuminated Jake's skeptical frown. "What do you mean? Did she cheat on you or something?" "Mark, if that's true, you need to know." Mark interrupted, raising a hand. "Not like that. She has been doing things behind my back. Manipulative stuff that I just can't wrap my head around. I thought she was in my corner, but it feels like she was just playing a game." He turned to the stars, searching for answers in their twinkling light. "I never thought I'd question our love, but here I am. She's convinced me it's all about control. And it hurts, Jake. It really hurts." A long silence fell between them, heavy with unspoken fears and regrets. The night wrapped around them, lending an ear like an old friend. "Mark, what did you say to her?" Jake finally asked, his voice gentle yet probing. "I told her I needed space to think. Maybe to figure things out." "Good. You need to clear your head. But what if this is a turning point? You've got to look out for yourself. Do you even want to work it out?" Mark met Jake's earnest eyes, the warmth of family grounding him. The thought swirled through his mind: did he want to keep fighting for a love that felt broken? Their shared moments played like a montage in his head. Joyous laughter, soft kisses, dreams whispered against the night. But that warmth was choked by confusion and betrayal. Honestly, I don't know. Part of me wishes things could just go back to how they were, but the other part is screaming for me to run. Jake clapped a hand on Mark's shoulder. Then take your time, man. You deserve to feel whole again with or without her. You're more than what she's made you feel. At that, a flicker of hope broke through the suffocating darkness, but it was tangled with emotions he didn't fully understand. Mark looked back at his brother, seeking clarity amidst the chaos swirling inside him. Maybe I need to confront her again. I need the truth laid bare, not just for me but for us, whatever that means. I want to know if we can fix this. Jake nodded. That's a solid plan. You can't rebuild on shaky ground. As they stood there, Mark could feel a sense of urgency building. He had to know the whole story before deciding his next move. Every heartbeat echoed a question. Would his love for Emily be strong enough to withstand the truth when it finally came to light? Just as he was contemplating this, their mother's voice broke through the night's stillness, soft yet authoritative. Boys, is everything all right? Mark turned, the warmth of his family surrounding him like a blanket. In the presence of both Jake and their mother, it became apparent. Love was more than a memory, it was a choice. Yeah, Mom, we're good. I just need some clarity. The challenges ahead weighed heavily on him, but maybe, just maybe, with their support, he could confront whatever Emily was hiding. He felt a surge of determination rising. He needed to face her once more. Could he truly handle the storm? Would embracing the truth shatter his heart further? Or would it ignite a fire he never knew existed within him? The next morning, Mark sat at the kitchen table, the sunlight pouring in through the window. It woke him slowly, warming his face, but the glow couldn't touch the chill in his heart. A steaming cup of coffee sat in front of him, but he couldn't bring himself to drink. Instead, he stared into the depths of the mug, as if the dark liquid held the answers he was searching for. Jake was at the stove, flipping pancakes, an easy smile on his face. Want some? He asked, glancing over his shoulder. Yeah, sure, Mark mumbled, still lost in thought. The sound of sizzling batter was comforting, but it felt distant, like all the laughter they used to share over breakfast. Hey, Jake said, his tone shifting as he pulled the pancakes from the heat and placed them on a plate. I know you're worried about confronting Emily today, but remember what we talked about. You need to stay strong. Just focus on what you need to ask her. Mark nodded, though the knot in his stomach tightened. He had made a list in his mind, questions clanging like alarm bells. He could hear Emily's voice more clearly now, the sweet, soft tones that melted him, but now laced with a sharpness that made him anxious. Later that morning, the memory of their last meeting loomed over him. He had left her apartment, hands trembling, a rush of emotions clawing at his insides. Today he needed clarity. He needed to face the truth as the minutes passed and the clock ticked closer to their scheduled meeting. Mark's hands began to sweat. He could almost predict the scene. Emily sitting across from him, her bright smile masking the deceit that lay beneath. But he had to push through it. Around noon, Mark parked his car near the cafe, a spot they frequented in much happier times. His heart raced as he stepped inside, scanning the familiar surroundings, every corner echoing their laughter and whispered promises. He spotted her immediately, sitting at a table by the window, her face illuminated by the sun, hair cascading over her shoulders, seemingly unaware of the turmoil swirling around them. He took a deep breath before making his way over. Hey, Emily. She looked up, surprise flickering across her features. Mark. I didn't think you'd actually come. Yeah, I said I would, he replied, forcing a smile as he slid into the seat opposite her. For a moment they exchanged small talk, the usual pleasantries dancing between them, but the air was thick with unspoken words. Mark shifted in his seat, feeling as if a dam was ready to burst. Listen, he finally said, his voice steady but soft. I need to talk about what's been happening. We need to be honest with each other. Emily's expression changed, the warmth dimming slightly. I didn't think this conversation would happen so soon, Mark. Well, it has to. I can't keep going like this, pretending everything is fine when I feel like I don't even know you anymore. The silence stretched, the weight of his words hanging between them. He could see her contemplating the fragments of their relationship, the brightness of her eyes dimmed by uncertainty. Mark, she began, then paused. The flicker of something deeper flashed across her face, too quickly for him to interpret. At that moment, Mark's heart raced faster. What was she about to reveal? Would it be the truth he had been searching for? Emily, please. Just tell me the truth, he urged, the ache in his chest growing. I deserve to know. Her eyes surveyed him, searching for something, perhaps looking for the right words. Would he uncover a hidden malice that could tear them apart? Or would it forge a new path? The answer loomed, and he didn't know if he was ready for it. But deep down he knew this was the turning point. The moment everything could change. The cafe hummed with the sound of clinking cups and murmured conversations, but to Mark, it felt like a vacuum, drawing all the noise but amplifying the tension between him and Emily. His heart pounded in his ears, drowning out everything but his racing thoughts. What if she denied everything? What if he was just being paranoid? She took a deep breath, her eyes searching his, and Mark felt time stretch between them. Finally she spoke. Mark, there are secrets I've been carrying. I thought I could handle them on my own, protect you from the pain. His breath hitched. Secrets? What are you talking about? Emily gripped her coffee cup tightly, her knuckles whitening. It's not easy for me to say, but it's time. I didn't want to hurt you, but I realize now that hiding it only creates bigger wounds. The sudden vulnerability in her voice made his chest tighten. Just tell me, he urged, his words pushing through the fear that clawed at him. Please. She hesitated again, looking away as if gathering strength. A few months ago, I met someone, a friend from my past. We had a moment. Mark's insides twisted. A moment? What did that even mean? Are you saying you cheated on me? No, not exactly. It wasn't like that. It was complicated. The distress in her voice was evident. We connected, but I didn't act on it. I swear I tried to erase the feelings, erase them. His voice rose involuntarily, anger filtering through the cracks of his facade. And now you think I'm just supposed to sit back and understand because you didn't sleep with him? Mark, please, I trusted you. The words shot like arrows from his mouth, each one striking deeper than the last. She lowered her gaze, tears gathering at the corners of her eyes. I know I messed up. I should have told you before, and I didn't. What did you think would happen if you never told me? His own voice hurt, as if he were stabbing himself with each question. This is betrayal, Emily. You don't just get to gloss over it. She flinched at his tone but remained resolute. I didn't mean to hurt you. The truth is, I'm scared, Mark. Scared of losing you because of my mistakes. A heaviness settled over him as her words sank in. He could see the pain written on her face, the sincerity in her eyes. Was this the moment he had been waiting for? The truth, however flawed, out in the open? Scared of losing me? He echoed, his heart wavering between anger and sympathy. You could have spoken up. Instead you chose silence. I thought protecting you was the right choice. But I see now how wrong I was. Mark's breath hitched, and for a moment all he could do was stare at her. The boy he used to be, a kid with dreams of a future, clashed with the man he was becoming. He wanted to believe her, to reach out and comfort her. But how could he reconcile that with the heartbreak swelling inside him? As he wrestled with his thoughts, a waitress came by, interrupting the tempest brewing between them. She offered a quick smile and filled their cups, but Mark was elsewhere, lost in the whirlwind of feelings. Are we done here? He finally asked, pain laced in his voice. Emily's gaze locked onto his. Desperation etched across her features. Mark, please. Give me a chance to fix this. Let us talk more, I want to make it right. He leaned back in his seat, the turmoil in his chest rising like a tide. He knew this conversation was just beginning, but at what cost? What if this moment, this truth, changed everything for them? Could love withstand betrayal? And as he looked at her, he realized he was standing at a crossroad, about to make a choice. But which road would lead them to healing? And which path would only deepen the wounds? Mark felt a swell of emotions crashing against one another in his chest. The cafe was alive with chatter, but it was as if he were in a bubble, suspended in a moment that felt both infinite and agonizingly brief. The warmth of the coffee cup in his hand contrasted sharply with the cold creeping into his heart. Mark, I need you to understand. Emily's voice was shaky, but the determination in her eyes kept the words crawling toward him. This was never easy for me. I thought I could handle everything on my own, but it just became too much. He shook his head, frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. Handle everything on your own? Emily, you were handling it by hiding it from me. You weren't being strong, you were being selfish. The words hung between them like a thick fog, palpable and suffocating. Her face fell, pain shifting like shadows across her features. I know. I should have been honest. I just thought. She paused, her eyes flickering with anguish. The moment I felt something for him, I froze. I was scared of what it meant, of losing you if I told you. Mark felt his heart crack a little more. So you decided to try to police your feelings instead of just talking to me? How is that fair to me? He could see her turmoil, and for a second he felt empathy bubbling up. Emily was vulnerable, emotionally raw. Standing before him, an open book he was terrified to read. Mark, please. I'm begging you to hear me out. We can move past this. I promise I'll do better. I love you. The urgency in her voice pierced through his anger. What did love mean in the wake of betrayal? Mark's mind spun in circles. 5 years together felt like an eternity, yet it also felt fragile, like a house of cards. Could he risk losing everything they had built together? The question loomed overhead. Should he believe her? Was that even possible? Your love doesn't erase what you've done, he finally said. His voice low but tight, echoing the fight that waged within him. You made your choices, Emily. And here I am, stuck trying to figure out if I can forgive you. A pin-drop silence filled the empty spaces where laughter and clinking cups used to exist. The world outside drifted on, unaware of the storm brewing inside those cafe walls. Let me make it right, Emily pleaded, leaning forward, her eyes wide and earnest. Just give me a chance to show you that I'm committed to this. I can prove to you that I've changed. Mark watched her closely, searching for something, any sign that she was telling the truth. The sincerity in her gaze tugged at him, but the doubt clouded every hopeful thought. Suddenly, the door swung open, and a gust of chilly air rushed in, swirling around them like the tempest raging in his heart. A new patron entered, making his way to the counter, an elderly gentleman whose presence seemed to shift the very atmosphere. Mark watched him closely, wondering why he had suddenly felt so drawn to the newcomer. In an unexpected twist, the old man turned his head, his eyes locking on Mark's. There was something in that hazel gaze, a quiet intensity that sparked a flicker of recognition. It rattled him, sending a shiver down his spine. What did that stranger see? Did he understand the weight of choices and secrets that could either shape a life or shatter it completely? Mark. Emily's voice broke through his thoughts, still tinged with worry. Can you look at me and say something? Please. He swallowed hard. The answer danced just beyond his reach, and before he could forge the words to express his thoughts, a thought struck him like a flash of lightning. What if I want to believe you but don't know how? Just as the words left his mouth, the gentleman spoke, loud enough for them to hear. Sometimes the hardest truth is the one we have to face together. Mark turned back to Emily, her puzzled expression mirroring his own internal struggle. They were at a critical juncture, but what direction would they choose? Would they confront the storm together? Or was this the starting point of their unraveling? A thick silence enveloped the cafe, hanging heavy like a storm cloud. Mark's heart raced as the elderly man's gaze bore into him, stirring emotions he thought he had hidden deep. Who was this stranger? What did he know? Part of him wanted to flee from the table, from Emily, to escape the weight of the moment. But instead, all he could do was linger in it, caught in the crossfire of his own heart and mind. Mark. Emily's voice broke through again, desperation lacing each syllable. Can you trust me enough to at least try? He bit down on his lip, weighing her words like they were a fragile crystal ball. The love they had shared flickered through his mind, lazy Sunday mornings, laughter shared over dinners, dreams whispered in the dead of night. But alongside those sweet memories loomed the darker shadows of betrayal. It was a painful juxtaposition, and he wanted so badly to believe in her words, but doubt was a shackle he couldn't shake off easily. As if sensing his turmoil, the old man took a tentative step forward. Forgive me for intruding, he said, his voice gentle but firm. But sometimes the heart has a way of revealing truths we can't see ourselves. Mark turned to the stranger with a puzzled frown, wondering what exactly he was implying. And what would you know about my heart? The man smiled sincerely, his eyes warm and wise. I've made mistakes in my life too, son. We all have. But it's how we choose to confront them, and the people we choose to stand with us, that truly matter. Emily's eyes flickered with hope. Mark, look. If you can just give me a chance to show you. We can be stronger together. Torn between genuine care and overwhelming betrayal, Mark felt an ember of determination ignite inside him. It's not just about trusting you, he replied, his voice steadier now, the fog lifting a bit. It's about believing that you want to build something real again. How can I trust you when you've hidden something so big? She held his gaze, the fear in her eyes transforming into something deeper commitment. I know it's going to take time. I don't expect you to forget. But I want to earn that trust back piece by piece. Please don't shut me out. Mark looked back at the elderly gentleman for guidance, seeking reassurance. The old man nodded ever so slightly, as if encouraging him to take the leap. Mark closed his eyes briefly, taking a deep breath to ground himself. Okay, Emily. But it's going to be hard. If we're going to try, we have to confront everything. No more hiding. That's all I'm asking for, she whispered, a single tear slipping down her cheek. As the warmth of understanding began to settle between them, the cafe buzzed with life around them again, the forgotten laughter of others filling the air. Yet outside, thunder cracked in the distance, a reminder that their storm was far from over. Mark opened his eyes, already feeling a weight lift just a little. But first we need to figure out what we really want from this from us. Suddenly, the old man spoke again, this time with a gleam of wisdom. Sometimes, it's the journey that reveals the truth we didn't know we were searching for. Just then, a commotion erupted at the entrance of the cafe. Another figure pushed through the door, a woman, her face pale and urgent, casting a quick glance around the room before settling on Mark and Emily. Mark, Emily. She called out, breathless, panic evident in her tone. What now? Mark's heart sank. What in the world could be unraveling further at this moment of tentative hope? As the tension among the three of them thickened, he realized that this moment could shake the fragile foundation they had just begun to rebuild. What would this newcomer bring to the table? Would it be healing or another betrayal? The woman's frantic gaze scanned the cafe, her chest rising and falling like a flame flickering in the wind. Mark recognized her instantly. Sarah, a friend from college, who had shared snippets of his life over the years, but was mostly seen only during the annual reunions. Sarah, what's wrong? Emily asked, her voice trembling. The shadow of dread settled back onto Mark's shoulders, threatening to crush him. I'm sorry to barge in like this, Sarah stammered, catching her breath. But it's about, she hesitated, glancing around as if ensuring no one else could overhear. It's about Jeff. His heart sank at the name. Jeff was Emily's ex, the one whose shadow had loomed over their relationship, and whose betrayal had torn them apart at the seams. What about him? Mark asked, trying to mask the surge of emotions clawing at him. Listen, I shouldn't have to be the one to tell you this, but he's been asking about you. I saw him just now. He was trying to get into this cafe. Sarah's voice broke, and it hung in the air heavy with implications. Mark exchanged a quick look with Emily. What does he want? He's been saying things, Mark. Things that don't align with what you know. I thought you should know before he gets to you first. Her eyes darted nervously. Does it matter? He's a liar, Emily said, frustration creeping into her tone, the confidence she had just rekindled now shaken. Whatever he says, it's going to be twisted. We need to hear this, Mark asserted, but his heart was racing faster than ever, pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. Sarah leaned closer, lowering her voice to a hushed whisper. He's claiming he has proof that you're not who you think you are. And that, Emily, she swallowed hard, the tremor in her hand evident as she passed it over her brow. He knows something about both of you. Secrets that could change everything. Mark felt the world tilt beneath him. Secrets? More darkness lurking in the corners of their lives? He glanced at Emily, who pulled her lips together tightly, her eyes reflecting fear and regret. What secrets? Mark pressed, urgency flooding his veins. What else could he threaten us with? I don't know yet, Sarah admitted, frustration evident. But he looked confident, almost smug, like he had a plan. Mark clenched his fists. That man has already taken so much. I won't let him take this from us too. They all sat in a suspended silence, the cafe around them a distant buzz, their focus on the storm brewing inside their small circle. Emily's voice shook again, but with a new determination. I'll confront him. I can't let him control our lives any longer. No. Mark shook his head, feeling the weight of impending decisions press down heavier than the clouds outside. We need to be smart about this. We can't show fear. Then what do we do? She looked at him with those deep, searching eyes. The moment felt charged with everything they had been through. We can't let him ruin this chance we've ignited between us. I'm not sure, Mark replied, anxiety tightening his chest. But we need to gather all the pieces and find out what he really has. We'll take control of the situation. Together. Just then the door swung open again, letting in a burst of cool wind. Mark turned just in time to see Jeff step in. His face lined with a smug grin that sent chills racing down Mark's spine. Hope I'm not interrupting. Jeff's voice rang out, smooth and taunting as he locked eyes with them. But I think we need to talk. As a wave of dread washed over Mark, he realized they were quickly approaching another storm. One where the very foundation of their tentative reconnection would truly be tested. What secrets was Jeff holding, and could they withstand the truth? Jeff strolled closer, the confidence in his stride sending Mark's nerves into overdrive. The cafe, once a cozy refuge, spiraled into a battleground in silence. He leaned against the edge of their table, an emotional predator sniffing out its prey. I didn't mean to crash your little reunion, but it seems fate is working overtime. Mark straightened, his heart racing, anger and fear mixing in his throat like a thick fog. What do you want, Jeff? You've made it clear before that you don't belong here. Emily's fingers brushed against Mark's, a small yet grounding gesture. Her eyes flickered between him and Jeff, defiance battling vulnerability. Whatever game you think you're playing, we're not interested, she stated, her voice maintaining a strength that surprised even her. Jeff smirked, clearly undeterred. Is that so? And what if I told you I have some much-needed information that could change everything? Don't you want to know the truth? Mark could feel the tension rise like air before a summer storm. Truth. It was a word that felt inconsistent when it came from Jeff's lips. What makes you think we believe anything you say? Mark shot back, forcing his voice steady. I have proof, Jeff declared. He pulled out his phone, the screen illuminated with a message that flickered between them like a neon sign. I know who Emily really is. Who you both are. Mark's heartbeat quickened. What are you talking about? The anxiety dripped from his words, but he wasn't about to let it show. Jeff tapped the screen, an ill-intentioned glint in his eyes. Let me save you the suspense. I have dirt on both of you. Secrets from your past that you've buried deep. But I'm willing to make a deal. What kind of deal? Mark's voice dropped, every syllable laced with caution. Jeff leaned in, his expression transforming into something almost conspiratorial. Let's just say I can help you keep your lives intact. In return, you'll have to walk away. Walk away from whatever you're trying to build with each other. Emily's hand gripped Mark's tighter. You think we'd ever let you dictate our lives again? He shrugged, an aura of arrogance enveloping him. I'm not dictating anything. Just offering you the chance to protect what's left of your so-called happiness. Or I can make everything unravel faster than you can say I do. It's your choice. Mark's mind raced. Each emotion tangled together, creating a murky sea of options. He didn't trust Jeff. Not for a moment. But the idea of their pasts being exposed, of everything they worked for being stripped away like paint from the walls of their dreams, gnawed at him. Your threats don't scare me, Mark replied, forcing confidence he didn't feel. Jeff chuckled, a sinister sound. That's what they all say right before they realize they were wrong. You two could have a beautiful life together, but not if I have anything to say about it. There was a sharp intake of breath from Emily, and Mark sensed the tremor in her frame. She leaned forward, her eyes piercing into Jeff, demanding, what do you know? More than you could imagine. And believe me, the truth can be quite liberating if you know how to wield it. Mark felt the dread settle deep. This wasn't just a fight against some bitter ex. They were standing at the edge of a chasm, and one careless move could send them tumbling into secrets better left buried. Let us find out how deep this rabbit hole goes, Jeff taunted as he turned to leave, a triumphant glint in his eyes. You have till the end of the week to think it over. Mark felt the weight of his words. What would they uncover if they confronted their pasts? Was their love strong enough to face whatever truth lay ahead? The cafe fell into an ominous hush, the air thick with uncertainty and the echo of Jeff's parting words hanging between them. Emily's voice broke the silence, pulling him back from the edge of his spiraling thoughts. What are we going to do now? Whatever it takes to protect us, he responded, steeling himself. We're in this together. But we need a plan and fast. As they sat in the waning light of the cafe, Mark realized that the strongest battles often come from within, and the greatest truths can become weapons. But were they strong enough to withstand the coming storm? Or would the secrets rise up to tear them apart again? Mark sat at the cafe table, his hands trembling as the weight of uncertainty settled heavily around him. Emily's eyes reflected confusion and determination, the tension thickening the air between them. They had been through so much already, moments of betrayal and glimpses of hope. Yet here they were once again, teetering on the edge of another cliff. Jeff's words hung like a fog, obscuring the clarity Mark desperately sought. What secrets could he possibly have? What else had been hidden in the shadows of their lives? The thought made his stomach churn. Mark, we need to talk, Emily said softly, her voice steady despite the chaos swirling around them. This can't be the end. We can't let him manipulate us. Mark met her gaze, feeling torn. Emily's fear mirrored his own. But had Jeff planted seeds of doubt that could tear them apart? I just can't shake the feeling that there's so much we don't know. This isn't just about us anymore, he replied. But what if facing him brings more pain? Emily's voice wavered as she searched his eyes for a flicker of hope. I can't bear the thought of losing you again. The warmth of her words collided with the icy grip of panic layered within him. We need a plan. We can't go into this half-prepared. This time we face the truth together. Whatever it is. Suddenly, the weight of family and love flooded back to him. A rush of clarity slicing through the fog that had consumed him. He thought of Jake, his brother's unwavering support, and their mother's wisdom resonating in his ears. You deserve someone who cherishes you for who you are, she had said. We'll confront him, Mark said decisively, determination igniting within him. But we're going to do it on our own terms. Emily nodded, her resolve brewing beneath the surface. For the first time in what felt like ages, he caught a glimpse of the woman he fell in love with, the one who fought for something real, who believed in standing strong against adversity. Hours later, they found themselves in a small room at a community center, the place chosen for the confrontation. With their hearts racing, they sat at a table facing Jeff, flanked sharp with anxiety but steeled with the strength of their alliance. Jeff entered with his usual cocky demeanor, but there was a momentary flicker of unease in his eyes as he caught sight of their combined resolve. So you decided to show up, he sneered, leaning back casually in his chair. The tone was mocking, but the tension in the room began to raise the stakes higher. Cut to the chase, Jeff. We know you have something to say, so say it, Mark urged, his voice calm, but it held the firm conviction of someone ready to reclaim their life. Jeff smirked, pulling out his phone. You want to know secrets? I can certainly spill a few. But with each taunt, Mark felt the air between them fortify as if their bond became a wall against his threats. I have nothing to hide. Emily interjected, her voice clear and steady. You want to drag us down? Too bad. We own our truths. Whatever proof you think you have, shatter us. Jeff's smirk faded slightly, and he leaned forward, intrigued. Oh, so you've both made peace with your pasts? Mark felt his heartbeat quickening in an adrenaline-fueled rush. This was their moment. Yes, we have. And if you think you can tear our connection apart with lies and manipulation, you're sorely mistaken. Is that so? Jeff shot back, fury igniting the space. Then let us see how brave you are when I reveal what I know. But before he could produce anything tangible, Mark sensed the poise around him shifting. We're not afraid of you, he declared, his voice resonating with conviction. In that moment, Mark leaned forward, the strength of his resolve like armor shielding him. You're the one who's afraid, Jeff. Afraid because we've found solidarity, something you've never had. Your threats have lost their power. For the first time, doubt flickered across Jeff's features. In that heartbeat, the tables turned as conviction and loyalty superseded intimidation. The connection Mark and Emily had built became an unbreakable shield with a final defiant glare. Jeff clenched his jaw. I won't give up that easily. Then, as abruptly as he entered, he left. The door swinging behind him, silence enveloped the room. Mark took a breath, relief washing over him like a warm tide. He turned to Emily, whose eyes sparkled with triumph. Did we really just do that? She laughed softly, disbelief coloring her tone. Looks like we did, Mark replied, a radiant smile breaking across his face. In the face of turmoil, they had chosen togetherness, chosen to rise over darkness instead of sinking under its weight. As they moved closer, warmth surged between them, a promise of healing and hope coursing with every beat of their hearts. Their love had not only endured the storm but had emerged stronger. Hand in hand, they walked out into the light, ready to face whatever came next. The battle wasn't over, but they were not alone. Together, Emily whispered and Mark nodded, feeling the power of possibility in the air. They stepped back into the world, reminded that while the road ahead might be uncertain, they would embrace the journey, armed with truth, trust, and undying perseverance. Now is your time to make a choice too. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the great content coming. Comment your reactions and feelings about this thrilling ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to support the channel. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions.